Okay. It's live now. Okay.
Okay.
Ma'am, I will introduce you first. Yeah. One second.
Yeah. Now.
Okay. Namaste, good evening, and warm welcome to our next episode of Philosophy Cafe today. And this episode is special because the development of Indian knowledge system cannot be measured without talking about Buddhism. And we are running and celebrating the 100 years of development in Indian philosophy. So it's very special episode for me. And for the very first time in the Philosophy Cafe, our discussion today will be on Buddhism. Our speaker is Dr. Pallabi Mukherjee. She is an assistant professor in the Department of Buddhist Studies at Swami Vivekanand Subharti University, Meerut, Uttar Pradesh. She holds her Ph.D. On Applied Buddhism, Reiki, and Philosophy of Alternative Modern Healing System in Tibet from the Department of Philosophy at Nava Nalanda Mahavihara, Nalanda, Bihar. Her research explores the intersections of Buddhist psychology, consciousness studies, and indigenous healing practices with a particular focus on Reiki and energy-based therapies as forms of applied Buddhism. Dr. Mukherjee will be speaking on applied Buddhist philosophy of Śūnyavāda for peace and mental health in contemporary practice. So, respectfully mindful of your valuable time, I request Dr. Mukherjee to start her talk and raise our stage. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. This is a great honor and gratitude from me to you and Balram sir for calling me. And first I'm showing my PPT. Sharing the screen, shall I?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. It is visible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So my topic is Applied Buddhist Philosophy of Śūnyavāda for Peace and Mental Health in Contemporary Practice. Here I would like to mention that the term Applied Buddhism, because Buddha never claimed himself as a prophet or dharma guru like other Jesus Christ or Hazrat Muhammad. Rather, he always focused on as a Vaisajya guru or medicinal doctor saint who wanted to remove suffering from the universe, whether it is mental, physical, as well as emotional or spiritual suffering or pain. He
Ma'am,
always...
sorry to interrupt you. Kindly do it full screen so it would be more visible for everyone.
Okay, just a minute.
You have to click on slideshow.
Yeah, now
Yeah.
now it's okay.
Now, okay, no?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So the term applied Buddhism, this is mentioned by Buddha himself, and he was application. Buddha never mentioned himself as a prophet or dharma guru. He always focused to remove the suffering. Therefore, from this concept, application of Buddha's teachings is for the daily life purpose. It is the socio-psycho-ethical way for our day-to-day life. From this point of view, the term applied Buddhism started by Professor D.K. Barua, who was the teacher from University of Calcutta, then BHU, and director of Nava Nalanda Mahavihara He conjoined all the contemporary terms like engaged Buddhism, socially engaged Buddhism, eco-Buddhism, green Buddhism under one big umbrella that is known as Applied Buddhism. So now from this context, the term Applied Buddhism is focused as the application of philosophical teaching, Buddha's philosophical teaching for the contemporary well-being. So Śūnyavāda, which literally means the emptiness. When we are doing English translation, it is emptiness or voidness. It does not mean absolute nothingness as in nihilism. Rather, it points to the absence of inherent independent existence, Swabhava, in all phenomena. In Mādhyamaka thought of Nāgārjuna around 2nd century CE, emptiness is considered the ultimate nature of reality. Things appear, function, and interrelate, but they do not exist independently, separate from their conditions. Contemporary mental health crises and violent social conflicts share common roots in rigid identity views, dehumanizing narratives, and maladaptive reification of self and others. So Śūnyavāda's core insight that phenomena lack intrinsic independent existence and arise dependently offers a conceptual toolkit to undermine rigid reification and open space for cognitive flexibility and empathetic relatedness. Historically, Nāgārjuna's Mādhyamaka clarified Śūnyavāda through the two truths framework and radical critique of Swabhava or inherent existence, a position central to later Mahayana developments and Tibetan scholasticism. This philosophical background makes Śūnyavāda uniquely positioned to inform practices aimed at both inner healing and social reconciliation. So now going to discuss meaning of Śūnyavāda in early Pali text. In Pali text, Śūnya means empty, Śūnyavāda means emptiness or voidness. The Buddha in the Śūnyavāda suttas of Chula Śūnyavāda as well as Maha Śūnyavāda suttas, he speaks of Śūnyavāda as a mode of meditation and perception. Here, Śūnyavāda does not yet carry the full systematized metaphysical meaning of no Swabhava as in Nāgārjuna, but it still carries a radical insight. Things are empty of what we impute into them. So, in the definition of Śūnyavāda in Pali text, we are getting Śūnyavāda nama sabbesu sankaresu atta bhavena cha attani bhavena cha virahitatta aniccanupasanaya paticca samutpadadasanena cha bhavavita tanha upadana vimuttatham na nibbanaya samvatyati. That Śūnyavāda is the absence of self-ownership in all conditioned phenomena realized through meditative contemplation of impermanence, anicca, dependent origination, paticca samutpada, leading to liberation, nibbana, from attachment and clinging. Threefold sense of Śūnyavāda in Theravada concept as per Nikayas and commentaries mention emptiness of self or atta, that is phenomena. 5 aggregates are empty of a permanent self or essence. This ties closely with anatta doctrine. No self can be found in body, feelings, perception, formation, or consciousness. Secondly, emptiness of ownership as mine. Not only is there no permanent self, but nothing can truly be possessed as mine. Everything is conditioned, impermanent, and subject to change. Thirdly, emptiness of inherent substantiality. So, therefore, all conditioned phenomena are empty of permanence and essence. What seems solid or substantial is actually a temporary configuration of conditions. Therefore, we observe that Buddha focuses on to his disciples on practice, rather ritualistic forces, he focused on practice of jhana or meditation. That is the concept of sunyata vihara, abiding in emptiness. This practice involves progressively emptying the mind of disturbances, sense impressions, and self-preferences until reaching the pure awareness that is empty of self-identification, through step by step, like empty of distractions, empty of gross perceptions, then empty of I, realization of the nature of experience as sunyata but luminous. So Theravada commentarial traditions such as Visuddhimagga or Buddha Ghosh around 5th century elaborate sunyata as a meditation object where one contemplates the absence of self in 5 aggregates. Latter Theravada Abhidhamma tradition emphasizes analyzing dhammas or phenomena as impersonal events that are empty of a soul while still conventionally real. Unlike Mādhyamaka, Theravada does not deny the functional reality of dhammas, it only denies a permanent self in them. So distinction between, when we are going to see the distinction of it, Madhyamika Sunyata, Theravada Sunyata, it defines of self and ownership. Dhammas here are phenomena, or dhammas are real in a conventional sense, but sunya of soul. Madhyamika Sunyata defines all phenomena of an intrinsic existence or swabhava. Even dharmas are empty. They exist only dependently. Therefore, in Theravada, sunyata is primarily a practical insight and meditation mode of focusing on not self and impermanence, whereas in Madhyamika, sunyata is a systematic philosophical principle which applies universally to all phenomena. So the Madhyamika formulation of sunyata as the central revolutionary insight of Buddhism, a philosophically rigorous attempt on it is the philosophically rigorous attempt to show that nothing or no thing, self or dharma, which possesses an independent self-grounded essence or swabhava. Nāgārjuna's method is decisively dialectical. It systematically exposes the contradictions entailed by any claim to intrinsic existence, thereby defending a middle way that is neither eternalism nor nihilism. This deconstructive method is not nihilistic. Emptiness is nothingness, but the absence of independent being, that is reality's radical dependence. So philosophical foundation of the core concept in Śūnyavāda, according to canonical Mahayana teachings, we get that the rupam sunyata, sunnataiva rupam na prithak sunyata, sunnataiva na prithak rupam, yad rupam sa sunnata, ya sunyata tad rupam. That is, form is emptiness and emptiness is itself form. Emptiness is not other than form, nor is form other than emptiness. This that which is form is emptiness, and which is emptiness is form. So this passage is foundational on Mahayana philosophy, which expresses the non-duality of sunyata or emptiness and samvritti, truth or conventional phenomena. Again, it defines emptiness does not mean non-existence, but the lack of independent essence or swabhava. Thus, phenomena are both dependently arising and empty, yet functionally real on the conventional level. So, philosophical definition of sunyata, according to Nāgārjuna's Mula Madhyamika Karika mention, ya pratitta samutpada sunyatam tam pratyakshme sa pragapti upadaya pratipat saiva madhyama. That which is dependent origination we call emptiness. It is dependent designation. It itself is the middle path. So sunyata here is not nihilism. It is an account that all dharmas lack swabhava or intrinsic nature and dependently arisen. Madhyamaka distinguishes conventional truth or samvritti sattva, the everyday functional world, from ultimate truth or Paramartha Satya, the insight into Shunyata. Realization of Shunyata here dissolves fixated views while preserving compassionate engagement in the conventional world. Now the Pratitya Samutpad with Anatmavad, dependent origination can be understood when Shunyata, when the concept avidya will remove and the state of Shunyata through the practice, state of Shunyata arise with the pragya, and it will help to lead on the state of liberation or nirvana. Mādhyamaka identifies Shunyata with Pratitya Samutpad because phenomena arise in dependence. They are empty of independent essence. This undermines a fixed autonomous self and supports ethical relationality and ontological basis for compassion and non-violence. Nāgārjuna's dialectical method shows how any assertion of independent existence leads to contradictions. The therapeutic import is to cultivate intellectual humility and loosen rigid conceptual fixation. So, theory of dependent origination shows that all things arise through condition. Shunyata is deeper truth that because things are dependently arisen, they are empty of fixed independent essence. So basic formula of dependent origination is when this is, that is from the arising of this that arises, when this is not, that is not, from the cessation of this that ceases. This expresses a universal principle. Nothing exists in isolation. Everything arises due to the conditions. Therefore, the 12 link of chain or Dadash Nidana mention avidya pachaya sankhara, sankhara pachaya vijnanam, vijnanam pachaya namarupam, namarupa pachaya shalayatana, shalayatana pachaya phassa, phassa pachaya vedana, vedana pachaya tanha, tanha pachaya upadana, upadana pachaya bhava, bhava pachaya jati, jati pachaya jaramarana. So these illustrates how suffering arises not from self but from conditioned causal processes. So fourth dimension of dependence, as later Buddhist philosophy, especially Nāgārjuna, broadens to the meaning of Pratitya Samutpad as Hetu Pratyaya, causal dependence. Phenomena arise from causes and conditions like a seed, from it comes sprout and trees, and again the cycle goes on. Then mutual dependence, Ananya Pratyaya, things exist not only in relation to others, like father exists only in relation with the child, left only in relation with the right. So another is dependence on parts or avayava, a whole existence only because of its parts, like a chariot is only an assemblage of wheel, axles and its other parts. Then pragapti, dependence on conceptual designation. Things exist as we designated them in language and thought. We call wood arranged in a certain way to form a table. Now, how dependent origination leads with Shunyata? If something arises dependently, it cannot have an independent permanent essence or svabhava. What exists only through causes, relation, conceptual imputation is empty of intrinsic nature. Therefore, Nāgārjuna's famous identity, whatever is dependently arising, that is explained to be emptiness. So that being a dependent designation is itself the middle way. So Shunyata is not separate from dependent origination. It is simply the deeper philosophical explanation. Dependent origination shows how things appear and function, and Shunyata mentions what that interdependence means at the ultimate level of lack of intrinsic existence. By linking Shunyata with dependent origination, Mādhyamaka avoids two errors of eternalism, which shows things have independent eternal essences, and nihilism, where it shows that nothing exists at all. Instead, the middle way. Therefore, things exist independently, so they function conventionally, but they are empty of intrinsic existence, so not absolute intrinsic. Now, The practical application when we are observing from philosophy to practical perspective, it has 3 steps like ethical, psychological, as well as spiritual. Ethical perspective sees actions dependently, conditions, future states. Karma is valid. Shunyata does not deny responsibility. Psychologically, it realizing the dependent, empty nature of the self reduces attachment and clinging. And spiritually, the Pratitya Samutpad and Sunya direct insight into impermanence, anicca, and non-self, anattva, which lead into the step of nirvana. Relation of Sunyata to Pragya as well as the Pragya Paramita, where it defines in Mahayana that Pragya is the liberative insight that directly realizes Sunyata. It is not mere intellectual knowledge, it is a transformative, non-conceptual mode of seeing that dissolves attachment to refined views and thereby frees the mind. The Pragya Paramita literature presents Pragya as the perfection of wisdom that a Bodhisattva cultivates. Pragya is not merely correct belief or intellectual knowledge, it is a direct, non-conceptual, liberative seeing into the nature of reality. In Mahayana, specifically the realization of Sunyata, it transforms how one perceives self, others, and phenomena. So Pragya has the kinds of or aspects as propositional or conceptual knowledge or paraksha. This is through the studying, gaining knowledge, conceptual understanding of doctrine. It is useful but not sufficient. Another is aprakrita or non-conceptual, that immediate seeing that disciples ignorance, avidya, that is true pragya. Pragya Paramita or the perfection of wisdom mentioned on practice and literature, which teaches how pragya operates in the bodhisattva path by the knowledge of ultimate reality, is suchness or tathata, and that the perfected wisdom is realized by the bodhisattva who does not stand on any dharma. These texts often teach through paradox, negation, striking aphorism precisely to undermine fixed conceptual grasping and approach consonant with Nāgārjuna's dialogue. So how the pragya produced? Pragya is typically cultivated through the threefold training of ethical discipline, shila, meditative concentration, samadhi, and wisdom, that is pragya. So it is study or reasoning, prepare the mind, meditation stabilizes the mind, then the concept of pragya directly apprehended towards sunyata. So phenomenology of pragya, when we observe, pragya is present, conceptual grasping relaxes, perceptual immediacy increases, one perceives phenomena without refining them. This perception is sometimes described as lucid, spacious, and non-dual. Now, pragya and sunyata has object-subject link. Like sunyata is the object, what is to be seen, and pragya is the subjective capacity that actually sees it. One can study the emptiness conceptually, but only pragya realizes it directly. Now, in transformative loop, it's seeing emptiness, pragya, which dissolves self-centered clinging, diminished clinging, supports compassionate engagement. Compassionate practice further depends insight, feedback loop that emphasized in Mahayana through wisdom and compassion. So, pragya also sees that even the concept emptiness is empty. This prevents turning sunyata into a new metaphysical object. Here, two truths reconcile as pragya mediates between conventional functioning and ultimate sunyata. It recognizes the probational reality of conventional phenomena while seeing their lack of intrinsic nature. Illustrative formula for pragya paramita literature: form is emptiness, emptiness is form. That aphorism is not mystical nihilism. It means the phenomenon we perceive is identical with its empty nature. The way it appears and its emptiness are not two separate realities. Now, different emphasis across traditions like Theravada, emphasis on Shunyata as emptiness of self and ownership, often as an object of insight in Vipassana. Pragya is insight into anatta and impermanence. Mādhyamaka shows emptiness is universal. All dharmas are empty of sabhava. Pragya is direct realization which allows one to hold the middle way and avoid extremes. Yogacara stresses mind only, chitta matra, and analyzes how subject-object duality is constructed. Emptiness is often described as the absence of duality. Pragya sees the constructedness of experience. Interpretations vary among Yogacara thinkers. Jain or Chen practitioners, they tend toward immediate, non-conceptual pragya, direct pointing, sudden awakening, while sometimes downplaying intricate metaphysical accounts. So, in practical cultivation, we observe a concise practical track of cultivate pragya and experiential understanding of shunyata from ethical foundation or sila, which live in ways that reduce inner conflict and strengthen attention. Stravana learned the doctrinal map of Pratitya Samutpat, both truths. This prevents misunderstanding. Vichara or analytical meditation take an object as self, as the object of feeling and thought, and ask to self what are its causes, what are its parts, how is it named, can an independent essence be located. This dissolves any kind of reification. Then the state of samadhi, it helps to understand the state of samadhi or stabilizing meditation, cultivate concentration so insight experiences are not fleeting. Resting, non-conceptual awareness through practice without grasping, allow perceptions to arise and pass without applying labels, notice the openness and non-substantiality. Then the embodiment through translate insight into ethical, compassionate action as the Bodhisattva ideal. Soteriological point of view, pragya seeing shunyata, uproots of ignorance, the root cause of suffering in Buddhist analysis, and thus it dissolves the causal chain that produce dukkha. Ethical perspective and insight into non-separateness foster compassion and skillful beings. The Bodhisattva's path pairs pragya and karuna, wisdom and compassion together constitute true awakening. Here, experiential meaning for meditative practitioner on emptiness is to observe that thoughts, feelings, even the I arise and how it pass away with the dependent on conditions. Nothing solid can be found at the core. For ethically, when one realizes shunyata, rigid self-centeredness dissolves, compassion or karuna naturally arises, since the boundary between me and others has not the absolute. And liberational perspective, it's seeing shunyata uproots of ignorance or avidya, the first link of dependent origination. Thus, it breaks the cycle of suffering and samsara. Now, we are going to discuss Śūnyavāda as in the peace, how it deals with peace. So, first it talks on inner peace through overcoming self-other conflict. Śūnyata teaches that self is empty of inherent existence by realizing the non-substantiality of I and mine, attachment, ego cleansing, internal conflict are reduced. This insight nurtures equanimity, compassion, freedom from our inner turmoil, and it creates the concept of forgiveness and help towards not only first of all the self as well as towards the societies. Therefore, social peace is deconstructing rigid identities, where Śūnyavāda deconstruct fixed categories such as caste, gender, religion, ethnicity, which showing them to be conceptual constructs without absolute essence. When rigid identities lost their grip, prejudices and divisions dissolve, this open space for dialogue, mutual respect with others, and inclusive harmony creates within the society. Again, it helped to create on global peace through interdependence fosters responsibility, when Shunyata as dependent origination highlights the radical interdependence of all beings and phenomena. It helps to recognizing this interconnectedness, instill a sense of global responsibility through ecological awareness, compassionate action, not only for human, also for the for the universe and all the smallest creature in this universe. Thus, peace is extended beyond nations, communities to embrace the entire planet. This is the way Śūnyavāda becomes not only a profound philosophical insight, but also a practical foundation for peace building, from personal healing to social harmony and to create global sustainability. Now, going to observe Śūnyavāda and mental health issues. Shunyata, pragya, meditation, and psychological healing. When we observe this as a form, meditation and the uprooting of how it uproot the concept of ignorance. In Buddhist philosophy, avidya or ignorance is identified as the fundamental cause of suffering, that is dukkha, within the framework of pratitya samutpa. Through meditative practice, both classical techniques and such as samatha bhavana, tranquility, or vipassana insight, as well as energy healing inspired methods like Reiki, practitioners can calm the agitated mind, restore energetic balance, and open awareness to deeper truths. This meditative state gradually approaches ignorance, leads towards sammak samadhi, right concentration, a crucial step on the Eightfold Path. Then Shunyata, this realization of Shunyata is the philosophical culmination on dependent origination. All phenomena exist only in dependence upon causes, condition, parts, and conceptual designation, and are therefore devoid of inherent essence or svabhava. In meditation, direct insight into emptiness transforms one's perception of self and world. The rigid notion of an autonomous permanent self dissolves, leaving space for fluid interdependence and compassion. As Mādhyamaka Karika declares, whatever is dependently arising, that is explained to be emptiness, that being a dependent designation is itself the middle way. So the Shunyata is not nihilism, but a recognition of reality's relational nature, which open the door to freedom from clinging. Now it highlights on pragya or wisdom is the direct experiential insight into Shunyata. It is not mere intellectual knowledge, but a transformative awareness that perceives things as they truly are. Yatha bhutam darshana. So pragya represents the culmination of meditation, integrating calmness, samatha, insight, vipassana. The Pragya Paramita Sutra here declares pragya to be the mother of all Buddhas, the source from which enlightenment arises. In the Ashtasahasrika Pragya Paramita Sutra, wisdom is described as this wisdom is the highest perfection. It leads to the other perfection. It reveals the Buddha's knowledge and it brings calm to the world. Therefore, pragya is both hello.
Hello, ma'am. Yeah, you are audible.
Okay.
Yeah.
What?
Ma'am, you have last 6 to 7 minutes left.
Okay. Then I just go
Yeah.
with the slokas and
Yeah.
write just a minute. So it mentioned in several like Pragya Paramita Hridaya Sutra, that Rupam Sunyata, Sunyataiva Rupam. Then Vajrachedika of Pragya Paramita is also defining the as that is Tathagata Sammak Sambuddha, that all conditioned phenomena are like a dream, an illusion, bubble, shadow. So therefore, it is like dew, flash of lightning. Thus we shall regard them. Now, it is also work on meditation, energy healing, psychological well-being, where anxiety is elevated as the meditator recognizes the self not as fixed entity but as a flow of condition. Depression is lightened as wisdom reveals which painful experiences lack permanence and essence. Stress diminishes as one embodies the insight of emptiness and compassion in daily life. Diamond Sutra's imagery of dream and illusion serve as a therapeutic tool, where Sunyata helps to define Pragyat with reach in the state of Sammak Samadhi and ultimately help to reach in the state of Nirvana, that is ultimate liberation, peace and healing. So this progression, progression not only fulfill Buddhist path, also it allow the address on modern psychological concern, bringing the mind into a state of peace and harmony. Through meditation and energy healing, the practitioner cultivates calmness and insight, leading to Pragya. Pragya perceives the truth of Sunyata that uproots ignorance, transforms suffering, culminates nirvana. Along this path, psychological burdens such as anxiety, depression are relieved and the mind rests in peace. Now we define the applied practice in comparative insights of Sunyata, Pragya in a comparative life as cognitive restructuring and Sunyata. Here it is the cognitive behavioral therapy changes the framework through rational reappraisal, whereas Sunyata dissolves the rigidity of conceptual frameworks by realizing their emptiness. Another mindfulness-based stress reduction and mindfulness-based cognitive therapy cultivate non-judgmental awareness of present experience. This parallels Buddhist vipassana practice leading to Pragya, where mindfulness observes thoughts and feelings as passing events, where Pragya helps to realize that all such events are empty of inherent existence. So mindfulness creates space between stimulus and response, where Pragya defines it as the existential freedom and from clinging and suffering. And modern psychotherapy emphasizes the importance of therapist presence, a calm, attuned, non-reactive state that enables healing. So this resonates with Sammak Samadhi, or right concentration cultivated through meditation. Now, healing anxiety, depression, trauma, in this case, Sunyata, meditation and Sunyata dissolves the false solidity of self-referential suffering. Patients realizes their pain is not an unchanging identity but a transformative process. Here, Pragya reorients the perspective, empowering through individual to see suffering and transient and walkable. With meditative energy healing balances the subtle body, reducing psychosomatic expression of anxiety and stress. Now, so contemporary relevance of applied Śūnyavāda as psycho-spiritual therapy, when we observe, it is a method of cognitive reframing deeper than cognitive behavioral therapy, as it uproots the notion of inherent identity, a mindfulness foundation for stress reduction, enhanced by wisdom, insight, Pragya. It is a framework for energy healing that harmonizes body, mind, balance, contemplating psychotherapy. It is the path toward liberation or nirvana. Beyond symptom relief, it provides existential healing and peace. So, the modern psychotherapy seeks to heal psychological suffering by restructuring thoughts, regulating emotion, and cultivating awareness. Śūnyavāda, through meditation and Pragya, accomplish the same aims but on deeper ontological level. by showing the sunyata of phenomena and dissolving ignorance. When applied today, this Buddhist framework not only aids in managing anxiety, depression, trauma, but also leads to peaceful mind and liberated existence. Now, in conclusion, I would like to mention that the applied Buddhist philosophy of Śūnyavāda offers profound insight for peace and mental health in the contemporary world. The teaching of dependent origination reveals that all phenomena are conditioned, impermanent, and devoid of intrinsic essence. This philosophical understanding is expressed as Sunyata. Its direct experiential realization through meditation awakens pragya. Through the cultivation of sammak samadhi, this wisdom uproots ignorance, the root of suffering, and opens the door towards nibbana, the ultimate liberation. At the psychological level, this process dismantles rigid notions of self, thereby reducing the burden of anxiety, depression, stress, and trauma. In modern terms, Śūnyavāda functions much like cognitive restructuring and mindfulness-based therapy, yet it moves beyond symptom management to provide a holistic and existential healing. In the Pragya Paramita literature, it beautifully encapsulated that Rupam Sunnam Sunnataiva Rupam in Heart Sutra. Thus, when applied today, whether through traditional meditation on energy healing practice, the philosophy of Śūnyavāda becomes a living method for cultivating inner peace, healing, resilience, and harmony. Therefore, it can be integrated seamlessly with contemporary psychotherapy, offering bridge between ancient wisdom and modern science. Ultimately, Śūnyavāda teaches that peace of mind does not come from clinging to permanence, but from recognizing emptiness or interdependence. By embracing this vision, both individual and society can move toward a state of mental well-being, compassion, and sustainable peace. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. And Dr. Mukherjee has illuminated the timeless wisdom of Śūnyavāda, not as an abstract idea, but as a living and therapeutical insights into the nature of suffering and healing. And I would like to share that we have so many esteemed philosophers here with us. And we are delighted to have Prashant sir, Namita Nimbalkar ma'am, Alok Tandon sir, Ramesh Chandra sir, and other scholars. So I request you to start the discussion. Yeah. Ma'am, kindly stop sharing your screen.
Okay.
Yeah. So before taking any question from the viewers, I have one. When you talk about Śūnyavāda, how might the detachment encouraged by Śūnyavāda differ from emotional suppression or avoidance of an individual?
In the state of meditation, first of all, it is not very easy when a practitioner or a patient who is doing regularly, maybe in initial stage it is very difficult to concentrate. That is why it is mentioned self, a meditator should take self as an object, and then the thought, negative thought, whatever thought comes in the mind, whether to kill someone, whether to kill myself, or the problem of the life or anything, don't attach with the state. It will just leave it to pass on. And slowly, when this meditation is arising, that is the theory of dependent origination, it will help through the practice of dhyana, regular meditation. It will help to understand that these are impermanent. Whatever we are facing right now in our life, or any kind of problem, because nowadays, though we are highly advanced technology, AI and everything, still so many things are happening, especially very young kids, those who are went to studying after 12, they are committed suicide and just written a note that sorry, I can't manage it, to their parents. So they have to, if they are understand with the practice of meditation, as well as obviously there is other issues also, family pressure and everything is there, but a person, those who are giving the pressure and those who are suffering with the subject and both the others, they are practicing, it will show the state of Śūnyavāda when they realize that these all problems are coming and it is not permanent. When if I am facing a problem in my workplace, if I am getting attached with that, and it creates depression, anxiety, physical pain, as well as several other problems. But I know that this problem will, as it comes up to my this life, so many problems, it will also goes on. This step will help to understand the state. We are lay people, we are staying in this worldly life, but with the mode of detachment, so that it will help us to remove this kind of anxiety or stress we can overcome. And when we can realize it in the concept, that is why the avidya or avidya removal, when it removes through the practice and the state of sunyata arise with the help of proper knowledge or true knowledge or pragya, it will help to understand these problems are not attached, or these problems cannot grasp on our life, so we can manage or move on with the problem.
And I would like to
May
invite.
I ask a question?
Hello, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Alok,
Since
sir.
I am not a student of Buddhism or any expert on Buddhism, so my question may sound very, very elementary. But first of all, the metaphysical question. When Shunyata is something like dependent origination, then take the example of water. Water is composed of hydrogen and oxygen. It is a dependent origination from oxygen and hydrogen. And these combine and form compound of water. Now, water has got its own qualities, characteristics. It is dependent upon oxygen and hydrogen, but it has got its own characteristics and which can be studied. So we cannot say that this water is some sort of a shunyata. So it may not last long, or it may get converted into something else. But one cannot say that it is a shunyata or emptiness. So to how to define emptiness without having any qualities, characteristics, and also talk about that it is the reality. I think metaphysically it becomes very, very difficult. And that's why I think Buddha never talked about shunyata. I would like to ask you, why not anityata and anatmavad is sufficient for the psychological healing? Why we should go to shunyata itself when shunyata is a very difficult conceptual notion? One thing. Secondly, I would like to ask that a practice is required, meditation is required, but still we say that pragya is not only conceptual. So it may come to a person or it may not come to a person. is there any guarantee that a person suffering from depression, and depression, take the example, if there is a breakup between the two lovers, and the one who is feeling more dejected, who have been aggrieved, and feels that goes into depression. Now the question is, if we ask that you go and meditate, and you must talk about prajna, and you must develop prajna, I think this practically is not possible in that state of affairs. So how to deal with such cases is always a problem.
Yes, sir. Second
Once
question.
is not now I come to the last one. The third question is that the whole exercise of Buddha is the removal of dukkha. Now, when we talk about the dukkha in the modern setup, we find that dukkha is not limited to psychological attachments. Dukkha is also because of the social structural reasons. One may be poor, one may be suffering from caste, suffering from the class, and from the other state operators. So, the question will be that why did Ambedkar not rely upon the whole of Buddhism, the whole of this Nāgārjuna talk about Śūnyavāda, and went ahead and rejected some of it, and for the liberation of the, you can say, Shudras or lower caste, and removal of their dukkha. Thank you.
Okay, sir. All our questions are very nice. Actually, first of all, I'd like to mention about Ambedkar. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar's conversion, his taking Buddhism is absolutely it is not from a religious perspective, it is from a socio-economic and political perspective. And he has always focused on Theravada Buddhism. If we studied Buddha and his Dhamma and several controversies, that's why emerges in the concept of Neo-Buddhism, that he absolutely removed the Mahayana Buddhism, because his point of view, he taken some points of Theravada Buddhism. First of all, he focused absolutely on Theravada Buddhism. That is why he never focused on Mahayana or Pragya Paramita or Pragya, this concept, because he was not interested on philosophical discussion. His primary motto was to upliftment and give a proper designation to deprived community. It was absolutely political and social and economical perspective. This is one. That is why this is also one point. If we follow the Ambedkar's 22 vows, it was very controversial. And another point of view is that wherever Ambedkar faced any kind of difficulty to answer or justify his movement with any Buddhist concept, he stated it as latter interpretation by several monks. So there is so many controversies, and he was taken Theravada concept basically. Then your second question, sir, that how Pragya, who is suffering with a very high depressive state due to breakup or any kind of financial, societal, any problem, Pragya is at absolute highest level concept. When we are talking about Sunyata, Pragya, these are creates very deeper level. I already mentioned it is very deeper level concept or deeper level meditation practice. Those who are following regular meditation practice, that is not absolute for a new beginners. They have, that is why it is conjoined. Buddhist therapies conjoined with clinical practices like cognitive behavioral therapy, to talk to outcome whatever is going on in the mind, so that you will talk and you will share with the therapist, then only they start. There is a slow process, and we cannot guarantee. Even conventional medicine also never guarantee anyone. That is why people are sometimes not survived in when there is treatment going on in hospital or everywhere. So nothing can be guaranteed. That is the concept of impermanent, that nothing is permanent. So we cannot guarantee anything, but it is whatever we are talking sunyata and pragya, and uplift into the state of sammak samadhi or into the state of nirvana. Those are very highest level meditators, regular practitioner, last 5-10 years or lifelong, those who are practicing, they will get into that state. It is not for the beginners. And your first question, sir, can you repeat, ma'am? What was the first question? Hello.
About
Sir,
the
you are not audible.
metaphysical
Yeah.
status of Ka.
So you are not audible, sir.
How to define emptiness as a dependent origination having
Hello. What?
How to define emptiness?
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Now.
How to define emptiness with dependent origination and nisvabhava. I contended and given a composed of hydrogen and oxygen, and water itself has got its own svabhava. It is not nisvabhava. So how can we say that emptiness is the reality, having a nisvabhava? This is the question. This is something about the metaphysics of emptiness.
Emptiness or sunyata is not, we are not defined that it is the ultimate truth. It is the state which will help to understand that the problems, like you are mentioning about water is also not permanent, though it has its own qualities. Like we are all coming from our parents, though we have some qualities, inner qualities of both of our parents, but still we are, as an individual, all the children are separate qualities. So nothing is permanent. It is the concept of impermanence, and emptiness is defining that when the concept of Dadash Nidan, first statement is avidya or ignorance, which is the root cause of all the problems. Due to that avidya or ignorance, we have the craving to come, that we are, it is mentioning as Buddhism is not accepting soul as eternal. Buddhism is saying Attadipa Bhava, our action, karma, will lead our future life. Therefore, if we are thinking that I cannot complete this task in my present life, I will do it in my next life, as several life therapies and other sources are there, energy healing researches going on, where we are observed that one person is coming in the next life. So this has already proven. So due to the past karma, it is not the negative, but the materialistic world, whatever we are today, I am working with 10,000, tomorrow I will attach for 20, 25, 50, 1 lakh. So craving has no end. Buddhism is showing how to dealing with that craving and how to live a life of present moment awareness, mindful state, and present moment awareness. So not to define much for the future, and not to grasp with our yesterday's or our last walks or any problems. That is defined with the concept of emptiness, that is sunyata. When we understand 12 links of Dadash Nidan, it will help to understand the concept of Shunyata means it is nothing is permanent, everything is moving away, which will help to deal with our personal problem in this technologically advancement and crucial lifestyle.
Okay. I hope sir is satisfied with the answer. And thank you, ma'am. We have another question from Dr. Prashant Shukla, sir. Sir, please ask.
First of all, thanks a lot, ma'am, for a very rich exposition of the topic. It was quite a novel topic for me because how you connected Shunyata with anxiety and its solution. So that was a wonderful thing. And I'm actually enriched. And thank you to you. But I'm a little bit confused. The last thing you said, whatever I cannot do in this life, maybe I can do in the next life. But ma'am, there is no I in Buddhism. So what I we are talking about? And
No, I'm
well,
talking about as a personal. Means
okay,
we
ma'am.
people, we normal people, how we normal people are thinking. That is the concept. When we are in the meditative state, when we are doing practicing meditation, this removal of I will remove. So there is, if there is no I, so suppose you are insulting me, that insult deal me in such a way that I am going into depression. But if there is no I am having that mental state through the practice of meditation that he due to some issues, maybe you have stated some harsh word towards me. Due to the cause and conditions and situation, many things were there for that harsh word. So I will not attach with that words and I will have the empathy or forgiveness as well as for myself as well as for you also. So it is for the lay people I'm talking. Normally people are thinking in such a way, but I is not there. Through the practice, these kind of materialistic concept will remove.
Okay, ma'am.
So here so one minute, associated with your question. Is this I is ego?
Yes.
Is it
It-
it's
yes.
correspond ego?
Yes.
Right.
मुझे इंसल्ट किया, मुझे कैसे बोला, मैं क्यों उनसे कम हूँ, मेरा तो एक ही सेम एजुकेशनल बैकग्राउंड है, फिर मैं यहाँ क्यों हूँ, वो सब कुछ फ्रॉम मैं, आई, my son, my children, my family, my mother. When this concept of mine, though we are lay people and it is very difficult for us, but through the practice, and we have to practice, otherwise in craving doesn't have the end. So if we are continuously involved with those, it will ultimately harm myself as well as my surroundings.
Okay, ma'am, apart from that, I have two important questions.
Yes.
The first question is the kind of Buddhist Shunyata is explained. It is exactly the same kind of explanation which was given by Advaita Vedanta. Almost the same thing. In fact, that is the situation because of which Shankar is sometimes referred to as the crypto-Buddhist. So what is the difference between the Shunyata of Buddhism than that Advaita of Shankaracharya? And ma'am, the last question, and that always gives me a sense of discomfort. If the word is virtual, if the word is kind of Shunyata, then my depression, my anxiety is also kind of Shunyata. So why should I get bothered about that? Let it go on. It's Shunyata. Yes, ma'am. That's the question.
That is the practice. When I can realize that this world is nothing, meaningless. So meaningless, not like materialistic world is not the ultimate truth. If I'm fighting or competing with my fellow researcher or whoever, that doesn't have any ultimate truth. It will give myself a contemplation in the mind Otherwise, this competition of myself is create a problem. And Shankaracharya, Advaita's concept and this concept, as I mentioned, when the Mahayana Buddhism, because initial stage Buddhism, there was no written format. When it comes the written format, first we evidences shows that it is getting compilation was the verbal compilation. Whatever it is in the first council as well as in the third council. Second council, there is the controversial debate, so that there was no compilation. Third council, it was in the Ashokan time period, the compilation done, Abhidhamma Pitakas. It was also verbal compilation because we didn't get any kind of edicts on compilation of Tipitakas. It is the fourth council of which were not accepting by the Theravada community like Sri Lanka, Myanmar. They are mentioning fourth council in Sri Lanka, Bhattagamini and Duttagamini's reign. Fourth council, but we know in the Kushan period, under the patronage, royal patronage of Kanishka, there was the on the copper leaf. First time Ashoghosh has compiled in Sanskrit text, so it was there written format, all the compilation. But because it was in Sanskrit, Theravada countries not mentioned. This is what we have failed. Whatever Buddha exactly mentioned. First of all, Buddhism, Upasatha ceremony. Buddha never argued or denied the Vedanta concept, because Upasatha ceremony he incorporated with the suggestion of King Bimbisar. So, and several others also. Whenever he was very liberal kind of personality, that's why he added so many things. Only even in the time of Mahaparinibbana, when Bhante Ananda asked him who will be the next teacher, he mentioned Dhamma and Vinaya will show you the path. He not created any other fellow monks, though there was Mahakashyapa, like erudite scholar was there. So this Mahayana concept, Vaipulla Sutra, Vaipulla text, Śūnyavāda, it is till now it is a it is researches going on whether it is how much it is Buddha Vachan or latter interpretation, because we observe in the time of Ashoka there has been Sutta Bhanaka, Madhyama Bhanaka, means everyone is claiming, their disciples are claiming my guru is the superior, he is the direct of Buddha. So Buddhism never has any kind of here there is a controversy regarding Neo-Buddhism, but original Buddhism, whether Theravada and Mahayana, every concept we are getting many similarities with Advaita or Vedanta concept. So we cannot say, or Buddha himself also never claimed that he has started a new religion or he had any kind of competition or any kind of argumentation with them. He just stated his point. He was against the ritualistic formulation where someone is depriving, people are depriving when the particular two class are getting all the facilities. He was against that, and what he had, that is my personal point of view also, all these things were mentioned. That is why Buddha never established anything new, only the concept of Anatmavad. That is why he also known as Anatmavadi. And what is the major point of him? He always taken everything, he was localized through the easy language for local people. Before Buddha, it was in Sanskrit language, and only superior classes, they were eligible to read those texts, and whatever the particular class is saying, everyone have to accept that. What Buddha was done, he opened up it in easy language to everyone in the Pali language. That is why so many schools, so many dialogues and so many interpretations arise, and till now it is the world's third biggest religion.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm so happy you said that, because I also feel that there is not much difference between Advaita and Buddhism. It's different kind of wrapping maybe. And I also agree with you. I'm sorry, but Neo Buddhism is a sort of nonsense, because there is so much inconsistency. There are so much self-contradictory statement that I have never been able to understand with Neo Buddhism. But your answers
No,
are very
because
perfect
we have
and
to
mentioned.
understand that Neo-Buddhism was arised in the context of political, social, economical agenda for a particular upliftment of the society, for to the deprived class. And again, when I studied Neo-Buddhism in our University of Calcutta, it was in the third semester Neo-Buddhism, we observed that he always stated, whenever he faced problem, he stated it was later interpretation, so it is rejected. And the Neo-Buddhist people, what they are doing, they are accepting, they are not accepting Tipitaka itself. They are reading only Buddha and his Dhamma. And the 22 woes of Ambedkar, it was truly controversial. So that is separate. Whatever confusion or contradiction nowadays we are facing regarding Buddhism and Sanatan, it is only because of this movement, though it has helped in the revival of Buddhism in its homeland, because Buddhism was absolutely abolished after invention of 11th and 12th century. It also has a other impact, definitely, but there is controversy because Neo-Buddhist concept is absolutely socio-political. He was not a religious person, and not from a religious perspective he has done this.
Beautiful, thought. And we have one scholar here, Tejaniya.
Yeah, he's my
Dr.
student.
Tejaniya, you're
Myanmar
student.
student. Yeah,
Okay.
he's my student, Myanmar
So
student.
we should take feedback from your student then. Yeah.
Bhante,
Hello.
Bhante, open your.
Unmute your mic. Unmute yourself. You're not audible.
Wait, I'm messaging.
Oh,
They are
okay,
missing
sorry,
now.
sorry. Audio
Yeah.
Yeah.
now close. Every day is teacher talking topic is a buffet, very buffet. Okay, yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
So,
you're okay. You're okay.
okay. And Balram sir were not here for the discussion, but he has joined just now. Due to some medical emergency, he was not able to join earlier. So, Pranam sir.
In between he joined sometimes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm having Buddha feeling sitting here by myself. So I'm sorry, I did not really. I mean, I understand what she heard talking about the Vedanta, and Buddha was never against anybody because he was a realized person, from what I understand, and what she is also saying. He did not have to be against anybody, because most of the time, actually, this should be the case. One lesson from him, that we should be for ourselves. Ourselves means not selfish reason. I mean for our own understanding. And in some way, personally, I believe that we all have unique features to offer, unique perspective, and that doesn't need to be against anybody. It can be just, whatever our experience is. And that's what I think I learned today in the seminar.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, ma'am. And this talk, I must extend my deepest gratitude to Dr. Mukherjee for guiding us through the profound intersections of ancient wisdom of Buddhism and modern mental well-being. And her exploration of Śūnyavāda as a therapy or a therapeutical lens has not only deepened our philosophical understanding, but also offered a compassionate pathway towards inner peace and clarity. So may this insight shared today by her continue to resonate within us, and reminding us about embracing emptiness. So we often find the fullness of healing. And thank you so much, ma'am, for this truly transformative discourse on Śūnyavāda and mental healing. Thank you, our audiences.
Thank you too,
all the
ma'am, and
professors.
also to Balram sir. Thank you, and all the teachers, those who have asked me. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you so much, everyone. Namaste. We'll meet next month on 21st of October with new episode with new speaker. Till then, namaste.
Thank you. Namaste.